Welcome back to the Boys in Motion podcast. I'm Andrew, joined as always by Bryan and Tyler. And today is not just any episode, it's our 52nd episode. That's right, one full year of weekly episodes, a bunch of laughs, some hot takes, quite a bit of questionable advice, and a whole lot of miles between the three of us and everyone in our Strava club. For this week, I've cooked up something special and have a special surprise for Biker Boy Bryan and Try Guy Tyler, so stay tuned for that.
I'm excited to get to unwrap this gift. It's been sitting on my shelf for the last 2 weeks or so, just itching at me. So yeah, we're celebrating the milestones that we set this year, sharing some of our favorite moments throughout the past year and some of our freaky workouts as well from this past weekend. We're going to chat summer Strava. I think the performances are here. It was a huge weekend for everybody in the community, and it looks like everybody's peaking.
We're getting there soon. We're working out, we're getting fit, and we're ready to witness the fitness. I still remember recording our first episode. I was pacing around, biting my nails, scratching my face the whole episode, and second guessing every word. But now we built a real community, and we got a good flow going. So I can't wait to celebrate, reflect, and look back on some great moments.
Yeah, it's pretty wild looking back to that Ottawa race weekend just about a year ago when we pitched Andrew with the PowerPoint presentation. Who would have known that it actually went off, and it's been quite successful. I mean, based on the things that we set our goals as, I think we can give ourselves a pat on the back. And it's been a lot of fun working with the two of you on getting the whole squad in motion and the podcast rolling as well. So it's been fun. Thank you both.
Yeah, the endurance game can definitely be a lonely one. Lots of solo, long, grueling miles. But with Boys in Motion, Girls in Motion, and just creating this community of people, it's definitely better together. And it just makes all of that work just worth it, especially when we've done so many events, community events, and be able to get together and do it all together. So it has been quite a good first year.
Couldn't have said it any better, and many more to come. It's just great community and great vibes.
All right, but Tyler, you mentioned it before that you were itching at the beginning, and I can tell both of you are itching right now. But about 2 weeks ago at Bryan's Barathon, I very nonchalant just handed both of you a nice brown wrapped package and gave you no other details. I've been working on this thing for a little bit now, specifically for our 52nd episode to do something special of really a celebration of 1 year of doing this thing, building this community, doing it together and doing it with everyone in our Boys in Motion, just everyone that's been doing it with us. So without further ado, I want you guys to take that brown package, open it up, and then let's chat about it.
Okay, let me go grab it.
I'm scared.
Are they the same thing or are they different?
They are the same thing.
Okay, then I guess we got to do it together.
This is like Christmas.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
are you ready?
My hunch is that it's some sort of clothing because mine says medium, and I would assume yours says large or extra large on it.
Oh, great. That's it.
Daddy.
You're an observer.
I just noticed it now.
He's a man of detail.
Okay, let's see here. I don't want to break the box too bad.
I got the box. Oh, you're just staring at it.
I'm getting ready. Ready?
Oh, there's yellow.
This is why I needed to wrap them, or else you would have been peeking.
Freaking yellow, baby. Okay, let's see. What the freak?
Holy.
This is wild.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That's
all right.
So sick.
So for those that are... This is just a reminder for people that are just listening. Check it out on YouTube, because then you can get the first visual sneak peek of what the boys are seeing right now. But could you guys give a spin?
Got to do a spin here.
Of what we're working with here.
So we have on the back a number of different visuals. There's bikers. It's basically everything that we love. There's like down to the exact helmet that I bought this winter on Marketplace.
And
White face mountain.
this is wild.
They
Down
even
to the pierogi.
they got the pierogies. Tyler, there's wax strips for
Yeah.
your legs.
Oh my! This can't be any better. I think
Andrew's Berlin qualifier bib. Your Ironman bib.
we have the CEO.
And then
Dizzy
there's
on
one more bib at the bottom left.
Oh,
Wow.
who's
round out
that?
the bibs
Oh,
and
first marathon. That's mine.
Look at
Oh, these are nice Easter eggs too. This is so nice.
So yeah, look, there's a bunch of Easter eggs that are packed into this one design.
Beats.
And, yeah,
I could go on forever. This is so sick.
I absolutely love it.
Wow.
Well, credit to you, Andrew. This is a phenomenal gift.
This
I'm
is
excited to
wild.
wear this. It's beautiful. And I love this
110%.
since 2024. I can't
Yeah.
wait for the moment where somebody's walking and be like, "You've been doing this since 2024? That's
In
crazy.
50 years.
You must be an endurance man if you could do it that long."
Oh baby. This is way too nice. And then the front just clean, moving and grooving.
And then
Yeah.
on the front, one of Tyler's favorite sayings, the moving and grooving.
Oh,
Even though
this
we're
is
doing
so
lots of
sick.
this endurance stuff, you always have to have fun with it and not
Oh,
take
yeah.
it too seriously. So that's just always that reminder right at the front.
This
There you
is
go.
Crazy, Andrew.
I'm gonna just mute myself and put this on here.
Too nice. That is wild. Did you get yourself one too, Andy?
Oh, I do have myself one.
Okay, good. I was gonna say.
I
The
do.
guy probably replaced his whole wardrobe with every iteration of these. He's
Yeah,
probably got
one.
15.
Oh, you know it.
It's amazing.
It's so comfy. I love it, and it's a high quality
Yeah, it's
sweater
really
at
nice.
that.
It's like a
Yeah.
heavy duty, heavyweight.
And it's
Oh, yeah.
perfect size. Perfect size. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love it. So yeah, just wanted to put something together of just kind of a bunch of little Easter eggs. It kind of started we started with Ottawa Marathon, and that was Bryan's first marathon. So that was kind of like a big moment. Tyler and I had done one before, but for Bryan, that was the first kind of dipping that toe into that real like endurance. And I would say your first like serious running block. You had done a half marathon before, but not quite
Exactly.
as regimented.
Yeah.
And then Ironman Maryland with that sub 12 for Tyler. So another big race moment for you. And then for myself, that Berlin qualifier at Toronto Waterfront.
That's actually pretty cool. We all had pretty massive milestones in the past
Yeah,
year, which is
and
awesome. I never thought of that.
Your 100K Christmas Ultra is there.
Yeah.
It is.
The Whiteface climb is there, which was one of my highlight rides for sure.
Yeah, a couple others. You guys had mentioned kind of like our favorite go-to endurance fuels, and I kind of tried to put a good range of that
The baguette.
from the fun stuff. Yeah, the baguettes, the pierogies, the pool water. You see the one BIM athlete right there on the right-hand side sipping on that pool water. The beets, you can't forget the beets. And then just also some donuts just for those nice, sweet coffee stops.
This is amazing.
So yeah, these are incredible. Now I wonder, this work of art, are there others that can acquire this, or is this a limited edition 3-unit run?
So I do have a couple others that have been made for some other people. If it is something that, people are interested in, could we do a limited run of something? Maybe we could discuss that of, do we want to do it on crew neck, a t-shirt, something else? So that is something that we could potentially do. The design is there. It's just a matter of pressing them. But I guess we'll have to see. People have to see it with their own eyes and see if they like it.
That's it.
I did try to keep it. I put some of our milestones in specific to us, but in general, I tried to keep it a little bit more general to Boys in Motion, with highlights like BIM 5K. Kind of, I put the Peloton for our BIM ride, and even a nice Girls in Motion shout out there, and that bottom right.
The newest edition, exactly. I can't stop looking at it. This is amazing. Can't wait to show it off.
Yeah, I know what I'm wearing to my next Run Club meetup.
Oh yeah.
And I remember one comment at the Toronto Marathon, and this was as I was kind of starting working on this design, was they saw our singlets, whatever. People, they liked them. They liked the color, but they said they weren't quite flashy enough and didn't know that it was Boys in Motion. So I definitely made sure that Boys in Motion was nice and big. You recognize the brand with lots of, fun things going on to capture people's attention.
I gotta show this again. I'm gonna show it again on the screen for all of those watching. It is pretty awesome.
So as we are looking at it, you're checking out all those Easter eggs. I would love to ask both of you whether it made it onto the sweater or didn't, of just like reminiscing on maybe one of your favorite moments from this past year doing the podcast and kind of engaging with this endurance community.
So mine did. It's the BIM 5K was my favorite event of like the past year, and maybe not the one you're thinking of. I actually think my favorite thing that we've done since we started the Boys in Motion was that very first BIM 5K at the Allenberg Bridge, once it was like truly, because I feel like that was the first one where we truly saw that we were bringing people together in person, and even people that we hadn't met. And I think it was that first event. Had that gone poorly, had it not been a good time, good experience for us, I could have seen us like taking a step back, but that kind of caused us to dive in even further, which I'm super happy about. So I think that was my favorite moment from the past year.
Yeah, that was a nice one. It was kind of like a, hey, you know what? This is a half decent success. We could try this again and get a better turnout. And of course, we obviously did. It was one of our main goals. I think that was Andrew's first goal, his golden star, and we hit it within the first year. So that's amazing.
And how about you, Tyler? Anything did make it, or even if it didn't make it into the sweater? Because I was wrestling with what I could and couldn't put on with, limited real estate.
Exactly. I'm looking at the sweater. I want to give a big shout out to the BIM ride this year. Kind of last year, the wheels were turning. We had a good turnout. It was nice. But I think this year was very, very well executed. Good organization, amazing route picking, and handcrafted by Bryan. So that was amazing. I realized we could dive into my ride this past weekend, but I realized how hard logistically stops and everything was. And we were just two of us. I can't imagine trying to plan that for, 8 or 9 of us. And I think along 2 groups. So I think that was a really great weekend for everybody. But I want to give a shout out to the episodes. I want to kind of lump the episodes that we do our race recaps. I just love doing race recaps. And we've, of course, had a few of those this past year. So I always just love chatting about races, and honestly is one of the main reasons I race is so I could talk about it. So big shout out to the race.
For sure. And I think one of the keys there was actually bringing in other athletes to do that like pre and post race analysis. I thought that was spectacular when we were chatting with Ian, bringing him on, chatting with Kennedy, and kind of hearing about the training, the what's going well, what's not, and then the results of that was mega. So I agree, and there's lots of race recaps to come. Andrew.
Oh yeah. What about you?
Yeah, what about you, Andrew?
I think mine, and I made sure that this one got in, and I know I love this picture that Tyler, you took, and that is the Christmas Ultra, that canal trail not maintained in winter. And I think these like harebrained ideas of doing these silly, like, why are you doing this challenges, just like it just represents the kind of what we're all about. Racing is great. All of us love racing, but doing these challenges because can I do them? Just like asking that, and then being like, with kind of on a whim, not much necessarily planning specific for that event, is just super cool. And with this one specifically, I thought the people we were able to get out, the support that I was able to get for that event with like 2 days notice of like, I have this very dumb idea. I want to hit this goal of mileage that doesn't matter to anyone, barely matters to me, but this is the only way I can do it. And just the willingness of just, yep, I'm in. And then I was expecting, 5, 10K, 15K. You two, 50K. Yeah. Do not disturb. I can't work anymore. I got a 50K to run. Mark is like, oh, I'm probably good for 15. Ends up doing like 35K. So just the community and just the like getting people together to do these crazy things and suffering together is great. I think it like hammers down the cheesy saying, but like if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. because that day we weren't going fast, but let me tell you, we went pretty far.
And when you were alone, you were also going very fast. So it's
Hey,
true
that
in your
works.
defense.
Exactly. That's awesome. Yeah, you couldn't have said that any better. I did not forget about that moment, but that was definitely a big highlight of the year. And like you said, kind of on a whim. I don't think I ran 20 kilometers in the past 2 weeks leading up to that ultra. So yeah, that was definitely a unforgettable moment. And it's just a silly thing, but every time I go down McLeod, which is often when I go to Niagara, I just remember how deep of a pain cave I was in just running down McLeod, barely hanging on for dear life. So you never forget those moments.
Yeah, I was there last weekend thinking the same thing. So that's totally ingrained. And I think that was just proof of like the close knit group that really is foundational to the Boys of in Motion, and like how like sound all of those relationships are, and how much we move together, because I think that's really unique with our group, and I'm very very proud of it. And I think that was a great way to cap off the year. And kudos to you, Andrew, for doing that full 100K distance. I think that was the proof of your pure endurance spirit, being able to make it, because Tyler and I did half of the distance, and it was, yeah, struggle bus was full of mans right there.
I mean, you weren't alone. There was a struggle bus. You saw the shuffle. There's videos and there's proof of the shuffle, and it was necessary because after the first decently quick 50K, my legs were definitely feeling it.
So I have another question for you guys about this reflection and 1 year recap, which is going out to the community more so than inward looking. What is something like a listener moment or something like that, somebody in the community that maybe did something unexpected or motivates you to continue doing this because of the impact that it's had?
I'm gonna kick it off with just I think just in general a community moment. Which is pretty cool is that we have, obviously we're based out of, let's call it, three different centers, and we have the chance to bring to bring people together from Ottawa, Toronto, and the Niagara region, and kind of have these events and have everybody involved, which is pretty interesting. Like, this past month with the Vim ride, like, a handful of people drove from Ottawa, from Toronto down to Niagara to do this ride, and I think it was just pretty cool to see that come through. And also, like, just getting people on the podcast interviews, again, people from Ottawa. Ross, one of our first, I think it was our first interview, right?
Ever.
Yeah.
And
So that,
update for the community, he is still running a
yeah,
mile a day. Yeah.
exactly. So I think that just, like, pins it, that, like, that was a pretty cool moment, and just the big community and how much we outreached with all our different centers and friends. So it's just nice to see.
I love that. And another update from Ross, they did miles to marathon 5K in Ottawa, and I think he tied my 5K time to the second.
Yeah,
So there might
Speedy
need
boy.
to be an ultimate showdown soon
I do
between
agree. Stefan
Ross and I.
too. Yeah,
Stefan's
Stefan
so
too.
quick. Yeah.
Speedy. A lot of Ottawa Speedy boys there hit that last weekend. So
Andrew, what about yourself?
I think mine was the second BIM 5K where we kind of scaled up a little bit and hit that 100-person live event or in-person event, and just all the feedback that we got, and like doing registrations, chatting with people after. And 3/4 of the attendees of that event either I didn't know or like knew through people, and just all of the feedback that people had such a great time. They were so happy that there was like this very community centered event that was happening in Welland, was pretty cool to see. And then after that event, having chatted and kind of shared what we did with a bunch of people, there's like a lot of excitement around kind of what we're doing next. People seem to be very interested of like, what is our next event? Whatever it is, they want to be a part of it because they saw the success of that and the good time people had. So I thought that was really awesome.
Yeah, I love it. For myself, I think something that motivates me every day to keep, editing shorts and pushing out the pod is the beginners that we're bringing into the sport. I've got one under my own roof here, the Rascal, who she didn't really run. She would have told you were crazy if you told her she went out of her way to run. And now she's done Around the Bay, Calgary half, and has Toronto Waterfront Marathon lined up. And she's motivating herself these days to do that. She's got her own training plan. So that's really cool to see. And then also Ian, who's joined us on the pod, coming from kind of zero to hero. I just recently was chatting with him. He ran his first 5K no stopping, and he's getting faster every single time that he goes out running. So that's just wicked to see the progress in people who maybe weren't connected with endurance sports before, who are now a part of the community and motivating others and maybe bringing others into the sport, right? And that's how community grows, and that's what I love to see.
100%. As you speak, he just posted another 5K, no walking straight. So he broke to 45 minutes. So that's just, another testament of, it's not just people say, oh, it may be just a phase. It's not just a phase. He actually got into it. A lot of people just getting into it and keep proceeding with their goals and just trying to improve on themselves, and doing it as a community is just amazing.
Yeah, I just had a conversation with him last weekend, 2 weekends ago, and we were going to the Coffee Cruisers Run Club in St. Catharines with North End Runners, I believe. And we were kind of chatting about his Berlin 5K goals. And he was like, do you think 35 is doable? And at the beginning, I was like, that seems like a very aggressive goal. Maybe we need to do a tester to see where you're at to set a realistic goal. And then we went out for the run, and he runs a 35K. And I was like, well, maybe that 35 is looking pretty nice, because you're just doing this at a coffee club.
Yeah, that's got to be so motivating, and that's so cool to see the progress that people are making, and it's not unique to him. People that are involved with the Boys in Motion are making strides in their fitness, and that means that what we're projecting, what we're putting out there is working. Coach Andy's plans, they work. Tyler, your plans, your routes, they're so nice, and they're working for you too.
Yeah, and we could go on all day about shouting out people that, have been impressing us all year long. We could go to Adam, Mark, Vark, all the boys just having a great time and embracing that endurance and just trying to get faster all together.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's really awesome. I'm excited to see where this continues to progress to. And I'm sure that we'll be sitting back hopefully a year from now and just enjoying more memories, more motivation, and a larger community, and one that's strong together, right? Winning together as well.
Yeah, I think we should look into an endurance house and just all live together and just do sports at all times.
As long as you're paying for the food. As long as you're paying for carbs.
Just bring.
Do we have, because I've been listening to a lot of David Roche stuff lately on YouTube, and he also has a podcast, and he always talks about his feed credit. And if we have a BIM house, we definitely got to figure out how to get a feed credit so that we can just have an unlimited supply of Morton and bicarb just coming in and fueling us.
Like Lionel, just bring the truck right to the house at all times. Every day, just make a delivery.
Maybe Red Path Sugar can sponsor us for some cheap carbs.
I'm on the Red Path Sugar. I love it. It's so nice.
Yeah, so I think that's a perfect transition to the next thing we wanted to talk about, which was our very freaky weekend of activities. We were all out there pushing the pace, pushing watts, doing long rides, long runs. And Andrew, maybe we can start with yours, because you were gut training this weekend on a long run. And I was surprised to hear that 100 grams an hour in carbs was still something you could manage.
Yeah, I've been on the quest to see what my upper limit of carb consumption is on the run. And I don't know if I found it yet. There was zero discomfort. It was a 17-mile long run at I'm going to call it a steezy effort, steady, but slightly on the easy side.
For the Canadians and the non-imperialists, that's 27K approximately at a 440 pace.
Okay, nice. 440. There you go. Yeah, 730 for us freedom units. But I set out to do this long run, and I've perfected the one soft flask, and then I do a DIY Morton mix right into that soft flask. So it's 215 grams of carb in a soft flask, mix it up with water, and it just becomes a gel. And I do, in one hand, soft flask, in my other hand, just plain water, a Nathan quick squeeze bottle so that I can wash it down because it's a lot of sugar hitting the teeth. So just a quick swig, spit it out, and then fill up on the water fountains. But no discomfort, felt good, felt like I could have done maybe more. And I'm thinking maybe on like harder effort to try to see maybe 110, 120, just to kind of see where kind of my stomach is for these efforts. Cause I just hear I consume lots of like these people at the upper end way faster than me, but that are really pushing the limits on high carb for performance. So I have to at least try it in these training runs to see if my stomach can handle it. And so far it's going well.
That's very cool. Now, I remember you had said that pretty much every block you like to train or experiment with something new. The last block, I believe it was creatine. Is this block dedicated to ultra high carb?
Yeah, I think that's the goal of like being very deliberate of like pushing the limit, and I kind of want to try to get to the point where I have a run and my gut is just like absolutely not. You need to scale it back. Before this, I've been very comfortable with like 80 grams. That's kind of where I've sat. It's done well. I don't bunk crazy hard, but I want to see if I could get some benefits from pushing it a little further.
That's wild. I can't imagine consuming 100 plus grams of carbs per hour on a run. I know I've been towing that line with on a bike, but a lot different. The body's moving a lot less, sloshing around a lot less. But I think with that Morton mix, you kind of get that benefit of not being as liquidy, let's call it. But that's wild. I can't wait to see how much you could push that limit and just go long, go freaky.
Yeah, I know was it Stefan that asked a question when Brian, you did the pool water, and of just like a question for runners specifically. I think for me, one thing that makes this super easy, on top of being able to handle a lot of carbs, is not having to like rip open packages, a bunch of packages, having them all in my pocket. Having one water bottle, electrolytes, water, one water bottle, or one soft flask with carbs makes it super easy. I know halfway into my run, I need to be halfway done this soft flask, and I just like don't even need to think about it. Every mile, kilometer, depending on, what you're about, just take a little sip and then just make sure you're getting to where you need to be in that soft flask.
That's awesome. Just microdosing the shug. I love it. Now, do you have electrolytes in there as well, or is it straight sugar?
No, so I do about 1 gram of salt per hour that I put into that mix. So that's included in or one gram, like it's equivalent of 1 gram of salt in that pool water mix. So I put that directly into my carb mix. Just makes it nice and easy.
Beautiful. Well,
That's nice.
I'm glad that it's going well. And the gut training, I like you say, at the pinnacle of endurance sports, athletes are pushing the pace on fueling. So I think it's worth experimenting, see if it works for you. And I'm excited to hear back on what that upper threshold is.
I'm just happy I'm doing it with just cane sugar and not the expensive like, Morton packs, because oh boy, I would need to take out a mortgage if I was doing it with Morton.
I got a box here waiting for you. I'm eating that like it's a. I just don't do groceries anymore. I just buy Morton packs.
Down payment for the house right there.
Well,
That's why I'm.
my question to you, Tyler, is you also did something pretty freaky this weekend, and I would love to know how many of those Morton packs you went through on that ride of yours, and tell us about that ride.
Yeah, that was a nice freaky ride. I always wanted to get that 200K badge on a bike, and said, you know what, last weekend, this past weekend that just passed was the time to do it. So I set out with Kyle. I mapped out the route. Took me, a good part of the week to map it out perfectly. In Ottawa, there's a lot of parkways that are closed, so we took a lot of closed roads. Kind of went in every part of town really, and we did hit the Gatineau Hills. So we did end up with, I'm just looking now, just over 1,400 meters of elevation. Just to add the cherry on top, legs still are a little sore, let's just say. But yeah, 200K. We were buzzing pretty quick until we hit the hills. But yeah, I was trying to aim for 100 grams per hour on the bike. A little easier to do on the bike than on the run. That's why I can't believe you did that. But for 7 hours, it gets pretty long trying to consume 100 grams per hour constantly. or consistently. So I got it for the first couple hours and then got a little bit of GI distress. So it was kind of as as feel as per I feel fit for the carb. So I was just like, I did have two of the carb mixes. The rest was a mix of, juices, Gatorade, powder, and I did the patented BIM Ride specialty. Just brought a big baggie full of Gatorade, Kool-Aid, and sodium pool water mix. So that's kind of what fueled me through that ride. And of course, the subway stop.
I just can't believe that on your longest ride ever, you would go for the Champlain lookout in Gatineau Park. Like that's a level of belligerency that is expected of you, but to drag other people along for that ride is pretty wild. So you were riding TT, is that right?
Yeah, so I was riding TT. A buddy of mine, Kyle from work, he was riding a road bike. A little bit of a switch up there. Just he couldn't have his TT ready on time for the big ride. We were set out to leave from his place and go to Gatineau first, so on fresh legs. So we would have probably hit Gatineau with, let's say, 30K in the legs. But we decided, because of the roads were going to get busy later in the afternoon, we decided to hit the open roads, let's call it, in Carp first. So we actually hit the base. I've never done this before. We hit the base of Gatineau at around 70K. So that was the most Ks I've ever done before doing the loop, because we do the loop quite often. And actually, it was pretty cool to see. I didn't plan this, but we hit the top of Champlain Lookout, took a picture, and our kilometers were exactly at 100. So we hit the halfway point right at the top of Champlain. So it's kind of like, a little poetic moment there. So 100K in the legs, and then we had to make our way down. So it was really fun.
That's very cool. So obviously, longest bike ride of your life, probably the longest bike ride of the training block as well. Yes, no.
100%, yeah.
Okay.
We'll not be doing that again.
That's probably safe. Now, it wasn't that 100 or 200K is something that most people would never dare to even think of. But that was a fairly easy ride, if I'm not mistaken, for you from like an intensity perspective, right?
Yeah. Looking back on it, obviously the legs were sore the next day. We could go into the next day after this, but felt decently okay during the whole ride. No cramping, no, let's call it, no bonking, and had enough carb, and didn't feel exhausted at the end of it. A big tell of like how much effort I took is how I feel like for the rest of the day. So, ran errands, did the rest of the evening activities that I usually would. So it wasn't like I just got home and passed out. So it was a relatively decent effort. I wouldn't say it was easy, but it was not, full on. So there's some room to get speedier. And my power meter didn't work at the time as well. I just got it fixed. So I will get the power meter going for next ride. I would have liked to see the power numbers there, but I would say they were probably relatively low compared to other rides.
Now, I just have one more question before Andrew starts drilling you about the next day, which is 200K in the legs. You've done like the BIM ride, almost 360K over 2 days. That's a lot of long rides. How are you feeling confidence wise for the Ironman bike ride?
Yeah, good question. I'm starting to feel confident. To be honest, still not there yet. I think I'll get confident when I could start executing back-to-back long workouts without failure, let's say. So I think my next 3-ish weeks are really focused on longer efforts on the bike, but not these crazy endurance efforts. So like a good 4 to 5 hour effort and into a long run as well. So these will be like my confidence boosters and the tell that I could say that I'm ready. So right now I'm confident on the bike, but I don't think I'm ready for that bike run.
Now, speaking of that bike run, if there's something that you're known for, it's for being infamous for blowing up on that marathon post Ironman bike. And that's for one very specific reason, is that you love overbiking. And after this bike ride that you call 200 kilometers, an Ironman bike ride is 180 kilometers, correct me if I'm wrong, or give or take, that the next morning you attempted to do a 15K, but only managed to do about 2.5 kilometers. And this was after your easy ride. So
You're correct.
Tell me a little bit about that.
You are correct.
I heard the legs left the chat.
Yes, the legs were gone. So I guess a couple takeaways from that, which I'm really happy I got to understand. But yeah, the legs did leave the chat. I was set on to do 15K, about an hour and a half, nothing too speedy, but just wanted to get out on the legs and do it. Woke up tired, of course. I think the day before caught up to me. I could say that the next morning got out a little too early. I think I actually think if I pushed it later in the day or into the afternoon, I would have gave that my legs a good even another 8 hours to recover a little bit. I think I would have got a little further, let's say, than 2.5K. But I got out. The legs weren't feeling it. At least I tried to go out. I think that's another big takeaway is that mentally I was there. I was ready to go for a run, but the legs just were not. A lot of pain in the knees and in the quads. I would imagine because being in that TT position and the pushing on the hills. But it was a tough run, and actually my stomach still wasn't cooperating from the day before. So consuming 600-700 grams of carbs in a day doesn't do the stomach any justice. So I think I still wasn't fully flushed out from that big carb intake the day before, and I just wasn't feeling it on the run. So I pulled the plug.
Now, is this the first outdoor ride on the TT?
Yes, actually it was. Yeah, my first ride of the year was a 200K. So maybe not the smartest, but it did work.
Love it. Well, I'm excited to see you bridge that gap and have a wicked marathon in Ottawa in about like a month and a half's time. Not even like a month.
Yeah, we got, I think it's about 6 weeks, but a good 4 weeks of training and a 2 week of maintaining / taper. So next couple weekends will be pretty freaky. The things I'm going to be trying to line up. Individually, I think they're not too bad, but executing them all together will be the feat, I think, that I'm trying to do, which is kind of, you always talk about focusing on a certain aspect of your, let's call it, of your strategy every block. And I think this block for me is really trying to hone in on executing back to back to back, even 3-4 long days in a row to just get those legs ready.
Yeah, I hope that when we're doing the race debrief, we've got a successful marathon, one that you're happy to share, and not one that kind of, throws a stick in your spokes.
A non-bonk. And then Bryan, I'll turn it to you. I think you saw my ride and you were trying to chase those hills as well. You were a little bit jealous, I think.
Yeah, so that's the thing, right? I'm known as the biker man, but you really put a doozy on me with that Saturday ride. Adam and I had gone out the day before for something pretty fast. Like we tend to ride, well above 30K an hour. And so it's a little faster than you TT boys might be used to in the Niagara Draft Gang. But very fun ride on Saturday with Adam, set a KOM together. And then the following day, because I saw your ride, I was like, I've got to tackle some hills. Being in Niagara, you don't really have like the opportunity to do long elevation. So you kind of need to do repeats. So I ended up doing 12 times a loop here in Font Hill, which is down the kind of steepest place in Niagara and then back up the long way around. And that was a very, very fun ride to do on Sunday, almost 76K, 1,000 meters of elevation, kind of best bang for your buck that you can get here. So I was very happy to get that. And the legs felt super good. I was in the seat every other time and standing every other time, but trying to hold kind of consistent watts and just push the legs and burn them out a little bit. Very fun, very good ride. But I'm transitioning to become a runner because today is technically the first day of my Fitzinger plan. Tomorrow should be the first workout of that Fitzinger plan. So yeah, the gears are changing. The summer run season is here. And I've made a promise to myself. If I can hit every single workout for the first 2 weeks, and I mean every workout by like every single run, I'm going to get myself a pair of shoes.
For frig, that's real nice. I like the sound of that. I just want to bring it back before you drop that big bomb on us. I have a question for your ride. I mean, really great numbers. The power is nice. I honestly don't think I could hold that power for that long. But you were saying you were going up down the steep way and up the longer the longer way. How long is that? Let's call it that climb. Just curious.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. So diving in a little bit more, I think the full loop is about 6K total, and you get it says on some apps that it's 100 meters of elevation. It worked out to be closer to like 85 or 90 per lap based on the total elevation that I did. But yeah, I would say that you're riding flat or down for about a K and a half, and then you're riding up for the other 4.5K.
Oh, nice. That's a good little kind of recovery, but you're probably pushing the down and then obviously pushing the up. And it's pretty cool how you did the half of your loops were seated and half were standing.
Yeah, and it was a very successful ride. Like my numbers were super consistent throughout the whole ride. And just to give you some clue on the grade going down, I was consistently hitting 85K an hour or so. Like I think my max speed was just around 85, maybe 84.3
Yeah,
on the
84.
downhill.
That's
And
wild.
that's not with a big run up. Like I'm turning and then going straight down the hill. So I'm not coming in with a ton of power most of the time.
That's crazy. And then
So,
just a cool number too, I find is I'm starting to try to bridge is the elapsed time versus moving time. You stopped for literally under a minute, so that's pretty nice.
just to, nature called, quick pee, kept going. Nothing else.
Geez, you have
Two
to
and a
keep
half
rolling.
hours. Yep.
That's real nice.
I
Yeah.
didn't even unclip one of my shoes when I did it. I still had the bike under me.
Okay, that's a
Speedster.
freaky man. That's a freak going uphill too.
Oh yeah.
Nice. No, that was a very nice ride. And I guess Andrew, what do you think about his bomb drop? I think we knew about it. I just didn't know when it was going to start.
Yeah, I mean, my natural question after seeing this ride would have been, so when are you attempting to Everest this climb on your bike? But I don't think the Fit Singer plan will give you enough energy to do that, unfortunately,
I was,
because it's quite intense as far as the energy requirement it takes.
It's
for
relentless.
sure. And so like the plan goes up to like 80 or so kilometers a week, but I still want to be hitting my 200K a week benchmark so that I can hit 10,000K for the year. So I still need to be putting in 2 bike days a week is what I have planned. The Saturday and the Tuesday will be bike days. So Tuesdays are actually one of my biggest days of the week. But I've mixed everything around, just like you guys were saying. Big business meeting, had the calendar going, and built the Rascals training plan as well, which kind of follows mine, but is a scaled back version of the Fitzinger plan. So yeah, it's going to be a big summer of running.
That's
And I'm going to try to wake up before work to do some of my runs just to get them out of the way early and in the cool.
I didn't see you out there this morning.
Hey, first day's a rest day. That's kind of my plan.
That's the
Very
best
sure.
part about Fit Singer.
Yeah.
Monday,
Yeah.
first day of training, sleep in.
That's nice. I mean, you're just describing a Ironman training block, so I don't know what you're waiting for. That's all I'm gonna say.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Now, I said 2 weeks successful running will be a shoe purchase. To wrap up the episode, what should I buy?
That's what I was gonna say. I was literally gonna ask, what are you gonna buy? I don't know. There's so many nice ones out there. I'm gonna give the mic to Andrew.
I mean, it really is. Where's that gap in the arsenal right now? As far as you have a few shoes there in that shoe locker. I mean, it's looking pretty bare back there, but
So what I'll say, Andrew, just to give you a clue, I have a ton of kind of daily trainers that I think where I could improve is speed shoes for doing speed work that are not carbon plated because I don't want to crutch myself like Tyler.
Bad answer.
I'll tell you, the plates are a big hack for being able to recover nicely after the sessions. So I wouldn't look at a plate as a crutch. It's an assisted
It's a
to get
hack.
volume. It's a hack to get volume and to not feel like a cripple.
And are you
Okay, that's a
racing?
good
Are you
point.
racing in carbons or not?
I will be racing in carbon.
That's all I gotta say.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I would say,
okay,
yeah.
let's say like we're under $200, so let's avoid the carbon here.
Maybe the nylon plate.
I mean, you could definitely get a nylon. I mean, I know the Rebels are very nice. I really like those, and I think does the Rascal have Rebels?
The Rascal
Propels?
does, and the Rascal has the Rebels, and she also has Propels. And Mark really loves his Rebels, and the one comment he made about them was they do not like to go slow. They're meant to run
Oh no.
fast in.
Oh yeah. They're a speedy shoe. I would
And
say
they're good
something
looking.
I would say something in the Rebel-esque would be a good, like, they can go long, they can go fast. So I mean that's really all we want to do here
Yeah,
at
that
Boys in
sounds good.
Motion.
Yeah, I was thinking Rebels potentially or the Mach 6s by Hoka, but I have so many Hokas. Like, unless they're going to sponsor me, I'm not going to keep loading out my arsenal with them.
It is true. So
Frig,
Hoka, sponsor this man.
did you see my picture of my front door? That was nice.
Yeah, it's just friggin'
Actually,
recovery slides.
I think what
It
you
was just
need is a
all
pair
Hoka.
of
Yeah.
Cliftons, a pair of, what is it, yellow and blue Cliftons,
Oh,
yellow,
yeah.
blue, and white Cliftons, so you can join the Clifton gang.
And we just run it back in Toronto.
Yeah, that's exactly what you need. Yeah, no, I think
We will see.
a nice speed shoe that can also go long for
Yeah,
your more like marathon pace workouts. I think
and
would be
that's what I'm
a good
thinking.
shoe.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we'll see. I'll have an update hopefully if I can nail my workouts, and maybe I come back with two. There's no problem with that. We'll see.
I like the sound of that.
Frank, I think you should just go Zoom flies and then Alpha or Vapor
Alpha.
flies because it's the perfect pairing. Just name me a better duo.
That's it. All right, we're gonna wrap that up there. I can't wait to see what pair of shoes you get, or multiple, and then you're gonna make me want to buy a pair as well. But that's it for episode 52. That's one crazy year of belligerency, laughs, and fun podcasting with the boys. If you've been listening all along this whole time and training with us, thanks for this. Thank you. This is amazing. We are continuing this journey. You're what keeps us going, moving and grooving.
Yeah, super. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, join the Strava Club, and if you found that this episode had the memories going and it's motivating you to keep moving, well, share it with a friend. And also keep an eye out at boysinmotion.com. That's where we have all our links and all our updates.
And I was sharing my tricks to go super high carb, but just remember we are absolutely not medical professionals. And maybe you shouldn't try the things that we've tried and maybe just listen for entertainment purposes. So stay safe, stay smart, talk to experts if you want to make big changes.
And remember, keep showing up, keep moving and grooving. And one last thing, hills do pay the bills. Can't wait to make year number 2 even bigger. Can't wait to make